8. Let's go ahead and write the graph or the function for this graph. We'd say that my vertex is at 0, 3, means my C is 0, my D is 3. So the rule for this graph, f of x, is equal to, A is going to be my slope of this right-hand side, so that slope is 2. That's 2 times the absolute value of x plus 3. And I want to go over here and write a g of x. My g of x is f of this big mess minus 5. So let's first do f of 1/3 plus 2x minus 4. Let's first do that one, just because it's such a mess. So I'm first going to do that. So I come back over here to my f of x function, and instead of x for my input, here's where my input normally goes. I'm going to put this big ugly mess in my input. So I've got 2 times my input plus 3. That would be f of this. So in my input, I'll have 1/3 times 2x minus 4. Now I really could make this a little bit nicer, but let's hold off on it for just a moment. So I come back here to g of x, and g of x is this mess, which is 2 times the absolute value of 1/3 2x minus 4 plus 3 minus 5. So let's do some simplifying here. I've got g of x is equal to 2 times the absolute value of, let's do 2/3 x minus 4/3 minus 2. Or if I factor out that 1/3, or I could factor out my 2/3, I could say g of x is equal to 4/3 times the absolute value of, let's just factor out our 2/3. So I'd have 2/3 times 2, that will be 4/3 times the absolute value of x minus 2, and then I have minus 2. That's if I factored out 2/3. Remember, factoring is division. So if I took this and divided this by 2/3, divide this by 2/3, I'd be left with 1, and here I'd be left with 2, and 2/3 times 2 is my 4/3. Just to clear that up a little bit, there is my g of x function. You can always check that with technology too to make sure that you graphed it correctly.